Okay, this is going to be very, very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Dan Bongino allegedly planning on leaving the FBI within weeks, potentially, according to sources. Dan Bongino is the deputy director of the FBI. That makes him one of the key leaders in the organization. Many people who've worked for the FBI have told us that the deputy director position is the most powerful position at the FBI. It's the one that actually gets things done. Now, whatever you think of Dan Bongino, his visibility on major issues at the FBI, everything from the pipe bomber to Charlie Kirk's assassination, has been a force. During press conferences, on television, Dan Bongino obviously had one of the most successful podcasts in the world, The Dan Bongino Show, and was doing record numbers of live stream concurrent viewers on Rumble right before he decided to join the administration at President Trump's urging. The most recent commentary that Bongino had on social media was about the crime statistics. We'll get into all of that here. Let's read the article. Dan Bongino out at the FBI. Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino will make a decision about his future with the Bureau within the next few weeks. Sources familiar with his considerations tell Fox News. The sources deny recent reports that Bongino's office at the FBI is empty, but they say his departure is a possibility in the near future. A source familiar with the situation told Fox News Digital that Bongino has not made any decisions about his future at the agency. Bongino's tenure at the FBI has come under fire in recent weeks alongside FBI Director Kash Patel. Earlier in the month, a report from an alliance of active duty and retired FBI personnel portrayed the Bureau as directionless and rudderless under its new leadership. Bongino and Patel pushed back on the report, however, defending sweeping reforms as they have delivered major gains and accountability in public safety. When the director and I moved forward with these reforms, we expected some noise from a small circle of disgruntled former agents still loyal to the old Comey-Ray model, Bongino told Fox News at the time. It was never our audience, our responsibility as the American people, and under new leadership team, the Bureau is delivering results the country hasn't seen in decades. Tighter accountability, tougher performance standards, billions saved, and mission-first culture. That's how you restore trust. New York Post columnist and new Fox News contributor Miranda Devine said last week in an internal 115-page memo that FBI active duty and retired agents and analysts heavily criticized Patel and Bongino since they took their respective jobs. I didn't give any real credence to this report. Of course the deep state is going to deep state. Of course they're going to criticize these guys. As you well know, Kash Patel has been on this program before, so has Dan Bongino. I've been on Dan Bongino's show. I consider Dan Bongino a friend. And this is going to be totally up to him. I haven't reached out to him about this because this is breaking news as of this hour. Bongino hit back at the report, saying that Devine loves attacking our reform agenda with gossipy anecdotes from disgruntled former employees. In this, I read through the FBI report that Miranda Devine cites here. A damning report labels FBI rudderless ship under Kash Patel. Dan Bongino more concerned with building personal resumes. I read through it. You can see it. It's listed right here. None of this can be referenced directly to agents that are currently at the FBI. This is something that was a real problem for me. So all of this is just completely anonymous. So we're just going to believe like garbage that was written by just anyone. Who knows who wrote it? Nobody knows. It is totally gossipy. It is very bitchy and anecdotal. And I don't see a huge problem with this report. I don't see this as damning or career ending because it is just a bunch of former agents, presumably James Comey's best friends, that are all sitting there in early retirement, most likely been fired by Bongino and Patel, and they got sour grapes. This is that's the way that I take this. So I really, really hope that this is not Dan Bongino's undoing at the FBI. Dan Bongino has done, I think, quite well, protected the homeland and crushed violent crime. This is Dan Bongino's last tweet. These words are not slogans. They are investigative pillars of the FBI. As stated Director Patel, over the weekend, the FBI disrupted a credible imminent terrorist threat and arrested 4 individuals in connection with the Los Angeles area. If you read the reports on this, this is legit big-time arrests. There was a left-wing terrorist group that was building pipe bombs and were detonating them out in the desert. And they were going to plan on blowing up a bunch of businesses and presumably harming a bunch of people in the Southern California area. And the FBI foiled that plot. This happened from today. That's just good work. This is one that I thought, though, when I read this tweet, I thought maybe Bongino is actually moving out. When I read this post, I thought, this seems introspective for Bongino. Seems like something that Bongino is, giving sort of careful consideration and looking back on his time at the FBI. This is from his personal account that has 7 million followers. And he posted this just a week ago. Watching the endless series of media fairy tales about the administration's public safety and national security successes from the inside has been a revelatory experience. Despite historically strong border, drug runners in a state of red line panic, a historic low murder rate, record-breaking arrests and seizures statistics, our military being rebuilt, fortified, peace deals being signed all over the world, the lemmings in the media continue to repeat their same mantras, insisting that we should believe 3 + 3 = 9. It's really illuminating to watch from this position. If any other president, more ideologically aligned with the sheep in the middle, did what President Trump has done, our public safety and national security, there would be nonstop celebration, nightly news stories, documentaries. They'd be prepping a rock on Mount Rushmore. Fact. So Dan Bongino there defending, obviously, his record and talking about, the revelatory experience to see it all from the inside. I mean, for me, that just struck me as being very personal and almost like he's looking back on the work as though he's maybe ready to shift out of that work. Andrew Bailey, friend of the show, would most likely take his position were Dan Bongino to shift out of the deputy director role. This is now breaking across my timeline. No official announcement yet, but half a dozen sources at the FBI and DOJ indicated that Bongino's Washington, D.C. office is empty. His chief of staff has taken a new leadership role in Baltimore. FBI insiders expect his departure in January 2026, potentially with co-deputy director Andrew Bailey assuming full duties. There we go. According to Fox News, Bongino is going to decide his future. Should he stay or go? One of the other people who were attacking Bongino, or at the very least the leadership of the FBI, was Tucker Carlson as of late. Here's Tucker Carlson from Theo Vaughn's podcast last week. So Tucker Carlson going after his friend Dan Bongino there, or at least the way that Bongino's been running the FBI in a different era. It was Dan Bongino on Tucker Carlson's show live in front of thousands of people saying this: do you want this Dan Bongino back?
You go do it. And then you start your own company. And then you get your own advertisers. That's how you do it. You pulled a Leo DiCaprio from Wolf of Wall Street, just don't defraud anyone. I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. You tell these liberals, I will haunt you sons of bitches for the rest of your lives on this planet. YouTube decided to cancel me. YouTube sends me a letter, an email. We're canceling you. You said masks don't work. They said, you got to pull this video down. I said, I got a better idea. I'm going to cancel you idiots, and I'm going to go advocate for a platform, and then Rumble went and sued them later for screwing them up. I'm like this. Screw these people. Don't ever let them beat you down. Ever. Ever. Whatever they tell you not to do, you do times 10.
What does the HR department in your company say when you talk like this?
All right. Different timeline. The timeline's been broken, ladies and gentlemen. Last time I had my producers pull the last time Dan Bongino was on Fox News. It was obviously talking about the pipe bomber, saying that this is the biggest FBI cover-up in American history.
This prior leadership team was doing outside of, targeting political opponents, weaponizing the FBI, destroying its reputation, embarrassing agents that are doing really good work out there, catching terrorists, CCP spies, and everyone else. It's almost like they were intentionally trying to decimate faith in institutions. It's horrifying. I don't know what they were doing. I can tell you what happened, though, when we got there, the director and I. My first meeting, I swore in, and I kid you not, probably 15 minutes later, and the people who are in the meeting know, I said, when I get in there, I want a full brief on this pipe bomber case on day one. And I looked at the case agent after getting a full brief on what they'd done, and they had done some a pretty extensive amount of work. They had chased down, I think, thousands of leads, 6,000 plus interviews had been conducted, hundreds of tips, and it still was relatively stale, the case. And I grabbed the case agent on the way out, and I said, "You're going to get me this guy. You're going to track this guy down, and you're going to find him. You're going to get me this guy. I want him." And that started what's been almost a 9-month operation right now to make sure that we could get full accountability and transparency to the American public and find this guy. And today we did.
So Dan Bongino there saying, obviously, that the Joe Biden FBI didn't want to find the pipe bomber. I think there's a lot of theories about why that is. Pretty self-evident that all of it is a hoax. What I'm missing there is some type of explanation as to why Brian Cole Jr. was someone who went and did this. It's like a loner autist who wasn't particularly political, going and planting these pipe bombs, or not. It still doesn't seem like he's the guy that actually planted the bombs. He might have been the dude in the backpack. I mean, I guess that does make a lot of sense. There's a lot of evidence, and he did admit to it, so there's that. But did he actually plant the bombs? I don't know. I want that explanation. Is why people still remain frustrated and probably will forever be frustrated with the FBI. And what kind of Dan Bongino do you want? I gotta tell you, I mean, this is something that was, really great to do with Dan at the RNC convention. He's just such a talented broadcaster. And whenever he decides to step back into the arena, we'll be happy to have Dan back. His voice, I think, is sorely missed right now. And he's just one of those guys that I've always really, really respected. And his ability to sort of manifest and explain in simple terms what is actually going on. And so that's my take on it, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and check the markets. Who will be the first to leave the Trump cabinet in 2025? Check the markets with Polymarket. Well, this is probably going to change based on today's news. But you can see here that Dan Bongino isn't even on there. Right? Okay. So, the Trump cabinet. Okay. Well, maybe ALX, see if there's a Dan Bongino market on here. I'm sure there is. So cabinet secretaries, got it. So none is the winning, like at 95, 96% says none. Nobody is going to do it. Kristi Noem and Pete Hegseth pulling in just a couple pennies here and there. Stephen Moran, Kristi Noem, Pete Hegseth. But pretty much everybody is below 1%. So the betting markets, the prediction markets are saying no one's going to leave the cabinet. That everyone's going to be sound and set, which is what I'd like, honestly. Okay. So on or before 2027. Let's look here. Dan Bongino now. Who will leave Trump administration before 2027? Now Dan Bongino is up at 53%. Zeldin, Pete Hegseth, Cash Patel. What do you think about how these guys are doing at the FBI? Let me know in the comments. Obviously, we know that there is a considerable amount of criticism. But you know what? That's just what happens when you're in the arena. What do you think this is? Like, do you think that society just gives you a free pass to find the J6 pipe bomber and to lock up a bunch of narco terrorists and to fire all of the kneelers, the FBI kneelers. This is a great one. The FBI kneelers. There they are. There you go. I mean, they fired all of them. I know. These are FBI agents, female FBI agents getting down on their knees in order to pledge fealty to a terrorist organization that was occupying Washington, D.C., BLM. This was your FBI. So just doing that alone, and some of them obviously couldn't get down on their knees, and then you have this guy. Okay. Classic federal bureaucrat slob. Listen, that's good. There's been major changes in culture at the FBI. It's been good. It hasn't all been good. Dan Bongino threatened to quit during the Epstein saga, famously. Dan Bongino understood what time it was. Oh, I never noticed this, that her kneeling actually cracked the cement. Goodness. Woof. Buzz. Girlfriend.